today's episode, MLB HotStove in full effect. We'll touch on the Heisman race going on this weekend. NCAA wants to create a new subdivision that sounds oddly like a new sports league. We'll discuss the portal, and it's Army-Navy weekend. Gotta love it. It's super early in the morning, everybody, and I'm already pissed off. Wake up, Mules Nation. Time to dig in. Good day, Mules Nation. Thanks for tuning in. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you for making us a part of your day. I am your host, as always, Eric Heiner, because I'm the only one here of Sports Mules. So, you ever just go to bed really tired, and you put your head on the pillow, and you're just whisked off to Dream World, where it's just puppies and laying on the beach and birds flying around in a sunny sky. Yeah, I haven't had that since like Clinton's first presidential race. So my dreams usually consist of just the weirdest fever acid-induced dreams you could have, and then I wake up at like 3 in the morning and then contemplate, like, what is outside of the universe? What is nothing? Chris Hemsworth was right in Thor when he said, all words are made up. Why do we drive on a parkway and then park in a driveway? I just ponder the mysteries of the universe. This is what I do at night. And then I think about this show and how I can be worse at it. And it's a struggle, but I do my best to be the worst. And then I log into work. And listen, I'm very fortunate. I have a job. There's a lot of people worse out there in the world than me. I get it. I'm very blessed. But damn, some days, yeah. But anywho, you know who else has jobs? A lot of people in the MLB. And a lot of people are moving. Some people from warmer places, some people to colder places. But a lot of people on the move, so we'll discuss the winter meetings went on and some of the moves have taken place already and some of the big free agents that we're waiting on. Heisman gets decided this weekend, so we'll see who is going to join college football history and be an immortal as a Heisman Trophy for winner. We'll touch on those guys real quick. NCAA, and again, this isn't some nonsense. This is the president of the NCAA is coming up with a plan to create another subdivision for the big guys. I think we all know my feelings on the NCAA, but we'll go over that quick. The portal has opened up, and much like if you had entered the tortoise and traveling through dimensions, if you're not a Doctor Who nerd, you have no idea of any of the words I just said to you. But and everybody seems to be diving in the portal, right? It's the deep end of the pool, and everybody wants in. Even though sometimes it feels like it's the Baby Ruth section from Caddyshack. Again, another reference. You don't know what it is. Go look it up, and you should watch Caddyshack anyway. And then Army-Navy is tomorrow. Today's Friday. So usually the way it works, let me look at the calendar. Yeah, Saturday follows Friday. So Army-Navy tomorrow. Obviously, we all know who I'm going for, but we'll touch on that as well. So, yeah, let's dive into it, shall we? So we'll start off today's program talking a little baseball. I know we rarely do it. But it's football season, so we kind of talk about what's going on now. But I am a big baseball fan, right? I love watching the College World Series and everything that goes into that. I'm a big baseball fan, always have been. Football is number one. It'll always be number one, but baseball for me is always like 1B, I guess, right? If football's 1A, yeah, football's 1A, baseball's 1B. I always love baseball. But so the winter meetings are going on. And this is usually the time that trades start getting made and real serious pushes for the top free agents start going on. And they call it the hot stove. For those of you who don't know, it's called the hot stove because back in the day, this is a history program. There will be a test, so take notes. So back in the day, it was called the hot stove because most of the teams were from the Northeast and upper Midwest. So if you don't know, it gets cold. And back in the day, they would have, their little hot wood or coal stoves in the offices and their buildings, and this is where they would meet and go over everything. So this is why it's called HotStove, right? Again, this is a history program. So far the big moves that have taken place are from, and this may seem shocking, the Yankees, who they have to because their GM and their manager people already want them fired. So they really have to make this final push this year to show improvement and be better than they have been the last couple of years, which is weird to say because previously they've been to the American League Championship Series. They've been in the playoffs. Last year was the first time they missed the playoffs in quite some time. But the team didn't look good. They haven't looked good. It's the hitting that has been the problem, where they are either bombing home runs or striking out. And you can do well in a 162-game season, winning games that way, having solid pitching, and just dropping bombs on people. You can do that in the regular season and be successful and make the playoffs. But usually when you get to the playoffs, you struggle because that's when the pitching and solid hitting comes into effect. And they've also struggled out in like really having a left fielder or somebody out there that they can do. It was kind of piecemeal this past season. So far the Yankees have gone out and they got Juan Santos and Trent Grisham from the Padres. Santos is a left fielder, Grisham is a center fielder. But they can move around, but I think they really want Santos out in left field because that's what they've really needed. And also, ironically, they have also traded for Alex Verdugo from the Red Sox, who's also a left fielder, but he's kind of, you can move him around as well. But they've started making their trades already and offloaded some of their pitching. That their bullpen has had some struggles. So they started to move some of those guys around and just free up some space and money. But some of this leads already to a lot of the problem that a lot of people have with MLB, which is there is no salary cap, right? Now, there's the luxury tax. If you go over a certain amount of money, you have to pay, a tax on that. But for some franchises, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Cardinals, but they're usually pretty good about it. They can, and the last few years, Houston as well, they can go out and spend a lot of money. They have the capital. They can go out there, they can spend a lot of money, buy whoever they want, get whatever they need whenever they need it. And if somebody's a bust, if it's not working out the way they want, they can still trade them, and they're okay to eat some of the salary because they have, the means to do it. And a lot of other franchises don't have that luxury, right? Tampa, although they've had an incredible run over the last 10, 15 years, plus actually 20 years, of being a small market team that doesn't have a lot of money, but using what they have well. But anytime they get into a pinch, if they got some injuries or we need one or two guys to really push us over the edge, they don't really have the money to do it. So people have an issue with that. That's always been my problem, right? Is some teams can just afford to make mistakes because they have the money. They can do it, and it doesn't matter. And money, as we've also seen, doesn't always guarantee success, right? Yankees haven't won the World Series since 2009. They didn't even make the playoffs last year, and they had one of the highest payrolls. Same thing with the Mets, right? They came in with the highest payroll. Were absolutely just dumpster fire, terrible, got rid of everybody, and said, we're going to start a rebuild. We're going to do this smarter. And then that lasted, 4 or 5 minutes, and then immediately went out, and owners are flying to Japan to, talk to top free agents, and they're just looking at everybody else. So we see how that plan has already worked out. So money doesn't always make you better, but it does give you more of an opportunity. And we all know the Yankees flow chart as well when it comes to winning and success. That's right. Did you win? Yes. Brag about how great you are, and then talk about your 27 World Championships. Did you lose? Talk about how great you are and how things are just unfair at the moment, and then brag about your 27 World Championships. So that's usually the Yankees flow chart on wins. But yeah, it's this is the time it gets going on, and they also make some rule changes. I know they've been talking about fiddling around with the pitch clock. I thought it was a good addition this year. I liked it. It sped the games up. It made them more interesting. So as long as they do things to improve the sport, I'm all fine with. But at some point, somebody's going to have to make some decisions or conversations about money, because then you also get the opposite end of that. Is you get owners like the A's moving from Oakland to Las Vegas. One, moving for money, but two, you have an owner who didn't invest, has never invested in his team, didn't invest in his team, didn't invest in the stadium, doesn't invest in anything, because he is still going to get the revenue sharing check at the end of the year. So I think they usually average about $250 million a year in revenue sharing between TV deals and merchandise sales and everything they do, right? Each team usually gets about, the lower market teams usually about $250 million a year. And the A's have averaged about $35 to $45 million a year in their budget for the team, of what they're paying their players. So if you take that money, right, this is also a math channel. So if you take $250 million of revenue sharing and you're spending, I'll even give them the benefit of the doubt, $50 million a year on your team, that's still $200 million you made. This isn't accounting for any of your own tickets and merchandise and every other thing that you're getting from the stadium, although nobody goes to those games, so how much money are you making there anyway? And, you take operation costs, you're still making probably a cool $150 million a year by just owning a team. I mean, that's a pretty sweet deal. But, watching, Major League movie in real life is... I love the movie, but watching in real life is not great, because fans deserve better, right? They're spending their hard-earned time and their free time to come out and see you guys and your franchise. The least you can do is actually try and give them a competitive team. But money has always been a problem in baseball, so that's something they need to look at. And then the two top, well, one isn't a free agent because they said they're not trading him, and that's Trout for the A's. So they're not going to trade him. So he's blink twice if you're okay. Trout needs some help out there. He's like a hostage. And then also for the Angels, Shohei Ohtani is on his free agent world tour. He's meeting a lot of teams and he's doing his due diligence. Great for him. I'm happy for him. Just an absolute phenomenal player, and he's going to get paid a absolute disgusting amount of money. Does he deserve it? I mean, he's a fantastic player. Do any of these guys at any athlete at any level deserve the money they get? It's show business. It's entertainment. So if they got the money and they can do it and they can earn it, good on them. But he's going around. I still think probably end of the day he's going to end back West Coast. I don't think he's going back to the Angels. I wouldn't. If you can escape, Mike Trout wants the hell out. If you can get out, why wouldn't you? I'm going to say it's probably Dodgers. I'm still going with Dodgers. It's the top one, but anything can happen. We'll see. But MLB in full effect already. The hot stove is still going to be on the side burner because, as we all know, it's still football season. So this weekend, the Heisman Trophy will be handed out, and one of these four gentlemen will be put into football immortality by winning the Heisman here. And I think this year, I think the four that they have, I think they're all incredible players. They're up for the Heisman, but the leading person I've seen and read about, I don't know if I agree with that because usually I don't agree with a lot of people on a lot of things. But these guys are all incredible players, all very deserving, right, of being here, being a nominee. And to be honest, I think any of these four winning it, I would look at it and go, yeah, no, I totally get it. So the leading candidate, who odds are to win it, is Jaden Daniels, who is the quarterback at LSU. Phenomenal year, incredible numbers. But again, that's kind of the Brian Kelly way, right? That's how his quarterback play usually is, right? He's a great quarterback coach. Their offense gives the opportunity for incredible numbers, but this is an individual achievement, but it is based off of team results, right? You can be the greatest quarterback in the world, but if your receivers are dropping the ball all the time, or your offensive line can't block a wet fart, then all of your skill sets don't really matter. And LSU had a great year. They're going to a great bowl game, all deserving, but not to the standards that LSU expects, not to the standards that LSU wants. And quite frankly, there were just as many times that I saw him play that I had some questions as I did watching and go, what a phenomenal player. But he's the odds-on favorite, so we'll see how that pans out. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback at Washington. Again, right? Phenomenal season, incredible year, right? This almost goes in line with what I was just talking about, right? It's an individual achievement or individual award based off of the team's achievements, right? Everybody working together. Number 2 team in the country right now in the playoffs, undefeated, Pac-12 champs. He's done a phenomenal job, and you see him out there, and we'll get into spoiler alert, Bo Nix in a second. But of everybody on this list, he is the most, as far as quarterbacks go, he's the most kind of NFL ready. I could see him out there. He's very Deshaun Watson-esque, hopefully not with masseuses, but as an athlete, that's what he kind of reminds me of the most, right? He's got good feet, right? Super mobile. He can move. He can get out of the pocket. He can do everything you need to do. But his first instinct isn't, this is my number one go-to route. That guy's covered. I'm out. He has the ability to move in the pocket and still make plays downfield, not just with his feet. So he's the most NFL ready I've seen out of this group. And again, if he won it, I would be totally okay with that. That'd be good. Takes us to our third person, Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix was present. I think he was 4 or 5. I think he was present at the 1968 Heisman Trophy ceremony. Bo Nix is about 6 weeks away from getting his first Social Security check. He has played as many games in college football as Justin Herbert for the Chargers has played in the NFL. I'll let you that one sink in for a second. So, incredible young man, transfers from Auburn, goes to Oregon, kind of resurrects his career, and has just done a phenomenal job at his time in Oregon. The things he's done, he's elevated them to be a solid top 10 team and program in this nation. He's done a phenomenal job. Heisman Trophy winner? I don't know. Again, right? It's like any sport, right? It's Hall of Fame, not Hall of, where it's the best players of all time. It's Hall of Fame, not Hall of really good. I think Bo Nix is a phenomenal player. He's really, really good. Heisman numbers? Heisman level? I don't know about that. That's just me. Again, I say that these guys, I don't know if they're deserving of a Heisman or not. I'm not saying these guys are trash, right? I think that's how sometimes people come across. Like, if you're like, I don't know if this guy deserves to win this, people are like, are you saying he's no good? No, dipshit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't know if he's earned an award that says in all of college football this season I was the guy. So I think Bo Nix is phenomenal. I think he'll probably have a mild career in the NFL. Depends where he goes. I mean, Purdy was the last guy picked, by the 49ers, and he's had a pretty good career, although he probably should have stayed and got NIL money. He would have got paid more than his $850K he makes a year. But so the three quarterbacks here, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix, all phenomenal, all deserving. I think Penix, out of these three, is the best that should get it. But that's just my vote, and I don't think I get a Heisman vote. I'll have to double check. I don't think I do. And then the fourth person on this list that has seemed to have been just ignored by everybody is Marvin Harrison Jr., receiver from Ohio State, who, in my opinion, should probably be the winner. And it's based off of when he is in the game and when he is a focal point of the offense, as he should be, he is the man, right? You have to plan your defense around him. Where he's at, what is he doing, what's our matchup like, where are we at on the field, you have to plan around him. Right? These other guys, the quarterbacks, your defense is naturally planning around him anyway, right? Because he's the quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. as a receiver is a dude. The last few years, he has been the dude. And like I said, you have to plan your defense to where is he at all moments. And I think that gets underplayed. And the fact that he is a receiver, right? The last 50 years, basically, of the Heisman Trophy has been just who's the best quarterback. There has been, exceptions to the rules. Obviously, we've had a couple running backs, a couple, Charles Woodson, who is one of my favorite of all time. He wins it, but again, you have to do incredible freak things to get an opportunity, if you're not a quarterback, to even get in this race and have the opportunity to then win it. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is, to me, he is the best college football player, even though his stats this year may not show it, and he missed some time with some injuries. But in my opinion, the Heisman Trophy winner is who is the one who produces the most with their time in a game, in the season, and who is the biggest threat that you have to concern yourself with. All of these quarterbacks, phenomenal players, incredible leaders, right? Field generals out there, you naturally have to do that. But when you get a wild card here and says, what is this guy? This guy's a receiver. And we have to know what he's doing and where he's at all times. That's a different level. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration. So my Heisman rant is all four of these guys, super deserving. Maybe look at somebody else other than quarterbacks. And Marvin Harrison Jr. should win it. That's my opinion. And if you don't like it, that's okay too. Let's talk about my favorite people. The NCAA. So Charlie Baker, the not touchdown maker, who is the president of the NCAA, has put forth a idea, right? I think he's trying to, do Inception on all of us. But he's put out for a new subdivision, right? So what we've talked about in the last couple weeks is, right, you have FCS, if my lips could work properly. FCS, so you have your football championship series, which is what good old 1AA used to be. And then we have our FBS, which is our football bowl series, which is where, our Alabamas, our Michigans, our Georgias, our SCs, our Notre Dames, all those guys reside. That's the big time. So his idea he is putting forth is to create another subdivision, which would basically be the Power 5 schools, really. if you want to get down to it, or Power 4 now. Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore, or whatever they're going to go with, whatever math they want to use. But to make it, again, we're now, like I said, right, Michigans and the Alabamas and the Georgias and SCs and Notre Dames and everybody will be a part of this new subdivision, right? This new conference or league, right, as you will, as the French say, league, that would give them a little bit more leeway, right? They wouldn't really be controlled by the NCAA. They would have somebody else who would be in charge of them, something like, what would they call it? Probably maybe a commissioner to be in charge of this subdivision and these teams. So some of the rules that they would look for would be to give these schools a little bit more control themselves as far as how many scholarships they want to give out, how they want to deal with transfers. Part of this is also that I think it's half of the eligible players on the team could get a $30,000 a year payment, right? What you would pay your employees, right? Sounds like a base salary. So $30,000 a year they can get with that. They would have more direct interaction with the name, image, and likeness, your NIL, in case you didn't know what that is. Yeah, that's what it means. Name, image, and likeness for the payment. So instead of having like this third party that does it currently, the schools themselves would have more direct control over it. So basically it would go into a big pot, and then they could dish out what they want to who. And then they'd also have a trust on comp payments as well that would have no comp or have no cap, as far as what they would then be able to also pay players, bonuses they would be able to give out. So essentially what has been discussed here is base salaries, payments for their top performers, and a no salary cap on what they can give all of their players as well, based off the school, not what they're able to bring in as far as merchandise sales, because that's what NIL is, really. It's your merch sales. And then also talk about basically free agency with transfers and signings and who they could, bring in. I'm not necessarily against any of this. We've talked for a long time now on this show how this is a business, right? Forget the old days of pom-poms and cheerleaders and just everything you remember. That doesn't exist anymore in this big league now, right? People still want to do it. People still like the cheerleaders. I like the cheerleaders, but and getting trashed out in the parking lot before you go into the stadium and start getting into fights. Go Birds. But it is a business. And this is the next step in it being a business. You're just making a new, officially, to some extent, not official, but official, minor league football organization. This is where the majority of the draft picks are coming from. This is the majority of where all the money is at currently. Just consolidate it now, be smart about it, and then you can free yourself up from some of the constraints of the NCAA. The NCAA gets to kind of somewhat clear its hands of you, so when people start complaining and bitching about everything that's going on, you go, hey, I'm not in charge of it. Talk to that guy over there. They have their own rules. So the NCAA gets to do what they love to do the best, which is not really be control of anything, but just act like they are. And then these other guys, the big schools get to do what they have been doing, but now they're even more free and open to do it, which is just do whatever the hell they want, pay whoever they want to come to their schools and just run it like the business that it is and not have to worry about the NCAA coming in and throwing a shit fit because somebody had a Coke and a pizza that they didn't like. So, again, right, the old school way that we knew, the majority of us, right, I'm old, how football used to be, that doesn't exist anymore. And you need to get over that and figure that part out and just embrace that this is a business that we've all known forever anyway, and just dive into it. So If they want to do this, great. My problem of all this, right, because I have to have a problem other than the NCAA. My problem is, again, right, scholarships. So we're going to pay these kids a base salary. We're going to negotiate with them on a contract for NIL money. And then we can also pay them other bonuses and other salaries, however we want to work it with the compensation, whatever the hell that means. And then give these kids free education as well. And as we've also discussed in other episodes, go check them out, this money comes in from what the school brings in athletics, majority football. So now that we're just saying we're going to start writing checks to everybody here, how much is that now going to hurt the schools who go, well, we could use a new sports center, or our science labs need a little touching up, a little assistant. We still want to be one of the top programs in whatever field at a school. Are the schools going to are they going to cut back on their money now of what they used to get? So again, people love to throw ideas out there, and then it all comes down to money. So we'll see what eventually happens. If they want to do it, great, but just be aware that the first time somebody in economics department can't get new, well, I guess they don't get books anymore. Whatever the hell they do, PDF files. The second they struggle getting money for that they used to get because they would get money from sports, football, we'll see how long all this lasts then. See, if I had a sponsor, this would be a great spot for it. I'd be able to put it right in here, sell some, I don't know, Joe's Dirty Pickles. Not a sponsor. I don't even know if that is. If that's not an actual company, it should be. If you make pickles, that should be your name. You're welcome. And then be a sponsor of this program. But yeah, this would be a great spot for it. I got to work on getting sponsors. I need some money. I sit here every day. I should get paid for doing something. Work? Let's not get crazy. But so to move on from the previous segment of my buddies at the NCAA, let's move on to a new one. So the portal opened, and the first day they had more people jump into the portal than they ever had before. And we've discussed on some previous episodes, right? Go back and listen. That they never did, and they still don't really have a full functioning plan for the transfer portal, the NCAA. It was made in basically to quell the issue of coaches would be at a program and either just, a year or two after being there, get a better offer at a better school and just bounce, or they would go someplace, break a bunch of rules, get the school put on probation, and then much like a dad going out for milk and cigarettes, never come back and just go to another school to where they would have no issue because the school and the players would be the one that would take the brunt of it. And the coaches can just leave, and unless the NCAA specifically came down and said, we're giving you a punishment as well, they got to just leave and do whatever they want. And kids got irritated, and rightfully so, because if they wanted to transfer, the way the old rules used to be is that if you wanted to transfer and you were going from a D1 school to a D1 school, right, so FBS to FBS, you had to sit a year before you were eligible, or a season, I should say. You had to sit a season before you were eligible to play. And they were just like, well, this coach just bounced and left, and he's already at some new school, recruiting kids and getting plans ready and doing practices. I didn't do anything wrong. I just want to go to a different school for a variety of reasons. How come I'm the one who has to bear the brunt of it? So in a panic of all of that, they decided, fine, we'll have a transfer portal where you can just go from one school to another, and you're okay. And to some extent, again, right, I'm good with the portal because, one, I think that's right. You don't punish kids I know adults who can't make rational decisions and just do things and then immediately regret it. Again, we're asking 17, 18-year-olds to make decisions and then be like, nope, you did it. You're stuck with this forever, right? This isn't pregnancy where it happened. It is what it is, right? It's school. You can transfer. If you're a regular student and you're like, I hate this place, I'm leaving. You can leave and you're okay. Nobody says, well, you can't take French for a year because you transferred. No, you just go to another school and live your life. So I agree with that part, right? And I agree for the most part as well on a lot of the reason why these kids move, right? If you are a fifth year senior and you're like, listen, my career is basically done here. I'm going to transfer somewhere else to either just transfer to finish out my playing career, or if I'm going to grad school and I was going to go to this school anyway for the graduate program, you transfer, right? Oh, that makes complete sense. That's actually a great decision, right? Leaving because you have a academic plan, right? Great decision. I'm all for it. That's my favorite one. A lot of times kids leave because they got a new coach, right? I got recruited by this guy or this staff. They've moved on for whatever reason. I don't know this guy. I don't really like him. Or maybe I even didn't go to a school he was at because he was there. I'm going to transfer. Also equally fine, right? You got guys who just leave for new opportunities, new scenery, right? Because sometimes that's what you need to. You've been someplace 3, maybe even 4 years. You're just like, listen, things haven't worked here the way that I thought. Sometimes you just need a fresh start. Also good, right? That's a part of life. We've all been through that to some effect, either relationship, work, just where you're living. At some point, you just go, I got to be somewhere else. I can't be here anymore. Makes perfect sense. The one that I have the biggest issue with, right, and again, not to call any of these kids out, it's a very difficult thing. Being a student athlete is one of the hardest things you can do. But a lot of these kids who leave because of new recruits coming in or people that are behind them that seem to be moving up the depth chart and performing better, or the staff seems to believe in a little bit more than you. I struggle to some extent with that because, again, I understand your thinking, your reasoning about it. But as a coach, you also look for guys who are bought into you, bought into your program, bought into their teammates, and who want to compete, right? I want competitors, right? There's 3 types of players. You got average players, you got good players, and you got great players. Average players just want to be left alone, right? I just want to show up here, let me do practices, let me do the weight room, let me do bare minimum. Don't really push me, don't really get me going. I just want to be here. It's great to have a jersey. Thanks. Good players want to be told what they need to fix, right? You got to do this better. You got to be here. You need this technique, right? You got to learn this more, right? Good players want to be told what they need to do to get better. Great players want to be told the truth. Good, bad, or indifferent. They want to be told the truth. And they're also super competitive, right? If I can't do this just because I don't have that tool in my toolbox, then tell me that. And I'll focus on something else to get better at. Or you can move me somewhere else. Whatever I have to do to help out the team and I just want to compete. Just put what I got to do, just tell me, right? So those are your 3 levels. And for some of these guys who it's like, hey, we have competition coming in, or hey, you better step it up because Already's here. And your first thought is, nah, I'm out. I'm going to go somewhere else. Are you going to get an opportunity? Yeah, because obviously you're a great player. So, and again, I don't want to call anybody out. There's some people in the portal. I had some names written down, but I'm not going to call these young men out because that's not fair to them, because I don't know what's going on in their head and their mindset. So, but I will say though, right, if you are leaving because you don't have that thing inside of you that says, no, I'm the guy, this is my job, either I'm going to get the job or I have the job, and, you know, I just, they're going to have to rip it out of my dead hands, right? So that's what I have a problem with, because that makes me look at you as a coach. If I'm bringing you in, right, you're leaving for those reasons. And that's why I'm bringing you in, I will always have that little thing in the back of my head that goes, if things get tough, what is he going to do? How's he going to act? He doesn't have that instinct in him that says, I'm the dude, come get it. So that I will always have a major issue with. Again, right? All these guys leave for a variety of reasons, but if you're leaving because of competition, that's where me as the coach comes into a little question of maybe what's inside of you, right? Not questioning your heart, not questioning your soul, but just questioning that fire inside of you that when the bullets start flying, right? There's two types of people. There's people who run away from the bullets, or there's people who run into them. I don't mean on, not Marines, bullet catchers, like running into them that way, but like run into where things are bad. There's two types of people. Which one are you going to be? So, and again, a lot of this comes down to my BFFs, the NCAA. It's just lack of institutional control. This has been going. They've had the portal for years now, and they have yet to really do anything that just stops players from leaving because, I came here and we wear red. Red's really not my color. I'm more of a green or teal, so I'm going to transfer. One, teal doesn't really look great on football uniforms, but that's a whole other conversation. But again, right, these numbers get bigger every year because it's free agency. It's free agency, which ties into the new subdivision, right? These transfers, it's free agency. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go somewhere else. And now it's recruiting season all over again. So yeah, the portal's open. Portal opens on December 4th. It closes on January 2nd. We'll see where everything finishes at the end. Maybe we'll do an episode on the transfer portal, but great ideas with great purpose, but that don't have rules set up to keep them that way, turn into chaos. And that's what we have now. A rule and decision that was made, rightfully so, to help young men out and women, because now it's all sports, but to primarily sorry for football, right? To help these people out, to help these young student athletes out. But then you gave no guidelines and no control over it, and then it just descends into straight chaos of people showing up to practice or people showing up to their classes or the school in general and just say, I don't like this, so I'm leaving. For the only reason that, I don't play as much as I want. Well, again, we're asking young men and women to make life decisions, but we need to have some sort of guidelines. There's a lot of things I don't understand on this world, right? Quantum physics, I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it. Caffeine gets you hyped up. But, why? Why does it do it? For why? Why does it do it? I don't know. There's a lot of things, right? I get it. Chemicals, again, like I said, I understand some things. I don't know it all, but I understand some of it. What I don't understand is why do I get a ticket that says somebody is leaving for work today and then coming back tomorrow? Okay. Good on them. I hope they enjoy their Friday. Why am I getting a ticket for this? Anywho, it's Army-Navy week. So the game tomorrow, in case you haven't listened to any of my shows before, spoiler alert, I'm a Navy vet. Also, spoiler alert, want to guess who I'm pulling for tomorrow? It's a great game, right? It is America's game. And the fact that a few years ago that they made it basically the last regular season college football game of the year. I thought it was great. I love it. It's a genius idea, as it should be, right? We've had the whole season, all these games. We've had the championship games for the conferences. The final four playoffs have been selected. The bowl games have been picked out. Everything is set. And then we have one more game to finish it off, Army-Navy game. Incredible history, incredible legacy. The game itself, as a fan of football and a former coach, it's a struggle to watch. I'll be honest with you. It's a struggle to watch. If we transported back to, 1949, it's probably an amazing game. Triple option, both sides. Yeah, sign me up. It's great. 2023, it's a little bit of a struggle to watch, which I completely understand. So, of all of you, anybody out there has any questions as why do all the academies run the triple option? And I'll give you a little inside information. They run the triple because all of these academies have, physical fitness weight restrictions for all of their cadets and midshipmen. So the service academies cannot have, basically, literally cannot have your typical massive defensive offensive lineman, right? Can't have them because these guys, right, they're playing football, but at the end of the day, they're in the service academies to become officers and serve our incredible nation. So they can't have that kind of bulk. So the only way that you can really do any sort of offense is running the triple because, it's preferred to have basically more thin, physically fit offensive linemen. Not saying that offensive linemen normally aren't just absolute specimens of the human species. They are. If you don't know, just go ask them. They'll be the first people to tell you. So that's why they all run the triple. But it may be a struggle to watch, but it is ingrained in this nation and our history. And I have a lot of Army friends I always enjoy it this week because it's fun because everybody jabs each other and makes comments and sends people's pictures and jokes, and it's a fun time, right? And I tell everybody all the time I love the Army. I only hate it for like 3 hours, once a year. But the men on both sides, I think it's always important to remember at the end of the day what they're going to do, right? Win, lose, or draw. We all win because out there on the field, it's the best, I would say brightest, but I know a lot of officers. But it's the best and brightest of what we have as a nation and what these guys are willing to do later on in life and their careers for all of us. Can't be understated. So tomorrow, if you have a chance, tune in, watch some of the game. The stories and everything that gets aired before the games are always phenomenal. The ceremonies of having the cadets and midshipmen enter the stadiums it is just a sight to behold. And it's one of the best events we have in this country where you get to watch and the winner or loser, maybe, depending you or your family, maybe it's a little bit of bragging rights for a year, and you get to bust somebody's chop for a little bit. But it's the one game a year that I think everybody gets to watch and just go, yeah, we're winning. We won today. Right, we won today, and in the world we live in now, and especially this time of year, any win you can get, we'll take it. So enjoy watching the game if you can. Have fun, and as always, go Navy, beat Army. Well, that's it for today's episode. You guys got 2 in 1 week. 2 episodes in 1 week. Whew. I spoil you. I do spoil you guys. But you're welcome. I love you. So thanks for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for everything you guys do. Thanks for all the feedback I get. Good and bad, right? I want to be a great player, right? I want the truth. So tell me what I need to do to be my best. So I hope you guys liked what I talked about. I had a fun time today talking to you. I'm not going to have fun in about 2 minutes here when I get back to work. But always great to talk to you guys. So enjoy your weekend wherever you are. Stay warm. If you can help somebody out there, help them out. It's that time of year. Be nice. Be kind. We don't know what other people are going through. I should probably heed some of my own advice, especially when I drive. My road rage is out of control. But yeah, thanks for everything. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Dig in. Go Mules.